Hello. Thank you very much for coming. It's real privilege to be sort of here. We always plan to come to Manchester because we know that there are a lot of industry professionals who are very, very important to us. ARRI is always dedicated to serving the industry, and we really, really appreciate sort of interacting with you guys and sort of talking with you and sort of get the feedback. And we are not big corporation. We are relatively small family-owned company. We have been in the business for 96 years. Most of the time happily serving the industry, making cameras, lighting, etc. And I think that our name is something that we cherish and sort of try to sort of keep it in the spotlight for another 96 years at least. We recently started going into the digital world wholeheartedly and with full intention to service that segment of the business or industry the best way we possibly can. Typically, we came to previous BVENorths to Manchester, and I had Tony Caldwell helping me, and it was great because I would ask him questions and he would sort of answer and explain everything. So this time I asked him, Tony, can you come again? And he said, I'm afraid, Milan, I can't. I'm grading. He's grading in London. He sends his regards and apologies. Then I called Tony Slaterling. He is from this neck of the wood. He's very busy. He recently finished Lucan and in the Flash shooting with Alexa as well. Called Tim Palmer. He did Breathless recently. I don't know if you've seen it. Can't do it. Can't come. Busy. Then called George Steele. He did a Peaky Blinders. Have you seen Peaky Blinders? It's amazing production in my books. Unfortunately, he couldn't come as well. Peter Greenhall, he shot Paradise, busy again. So John Perdue, he's nominated for Emmy for The Girl, and he did an adventure in space in time, which is going to be on screen recently. So you end up with me, I'm afraid. With all me, you can't blame me for not trying. And with me are my colleagues Mark Dollery and David Green, and we are basically on ARRI stand. So please come to see us whenever you can. I'd like to show you some images because I mean, at the end of the day, we are in the business of creating images. So I mean, this is the beginning and the end of everything we do. So I just would like to show you how the stuff that you do looks like on the screen, small or big. As you can see from the little clip, this is our show reel, which was prepared for IBC. There are so many different styles and different aesthetics applied, and we are extremely proud that Alexa not only produces stunning images by default, but also is an extremely creative tool and allows cinematographers to really push the look and the aesthetics of the project or the movie in the direction that they really wish to sort of take it. These are some of the titles that you may be familiar with. I mean, currently on the telly there is a Homeland. House was shot on Alexa. Downton Abbey is one of the shows. I mean, it just finished. This is another sort of set of credits, and the list of the list of projects is countless, and we are very proud that our product is so overwhelmingly embraced by the industry professionals. I don't know if you read the broadcast, but every week it gives the sort of rundown of top 10 programs, and reading top 10 TV dramas last week. Well, Downton Abbey, Ripper Street, The Escape Artist, all shot on Alexa. Holby City on P2, Paradise, Poirot, shot on Alexa again. Atlantis on 35mm film, and Casualty, Waterloo, and Breathless again on Alexa, and really gives us an enormous amount of pride. And again, all these sort of projects aesthetically look very different, and you can't sort of say, oh, there is a Alexa look, because it is like a 35mm film. You can make it whatever you want to be. And if you compare Ripper Street and Downton Abbey, aesthetically they are very different. Peaky Blinders and Paradise, completely different, opposite sides of the spectrum. I'd like to sort of spend a little time about our Alexa XT. This is our kind of flagship camera right now, and we have one on our stand. And then I'll probably spend more time talking about Amira, because this is a new baby on the block. In early days, we sort of switched on ARRI RAW, and for people who are making movies in particular, or doing commercials, shooting ARRI RAW is something of enormous importance. All the big movies, Iron Man 3 and Gravity is in the cinemas right now, shot ARRI RAW because of the special effects and visual sort of a narrative. In these days, in early days, the only way to sort of do it was to sort of put the codecs on the top of the camera, what made the camera less mobile, less sort of flexible, required extra cabling, etc., etc. Well, to avoid all that, we sort of shrunk the codecs and sort of fitted it on the side of the camera. And instead of sort of S/S cards, we have these codecs drives. They are really an amazing piece of technology, and they allow us to go up to 120 frames per second, what is for a lot of people doing dramas and movies more than enough. And all XT models have 4x3 sensors, what is something that a lot of people desired or asked for two simple reasons. One is anamorphic shooting, extremely popular and sort of highly sought after, and equally a lot of people, especially doing commercials, they like to shoot open gate so that they can fine-tune or stabilize the image and etc. So all this is accommodated within Alexa XT. This is a 0.5 terabyte drive, and probably the fastest media on the planet right now, allowing us this 6.7 gigabits per second writing speed, which is really incredible, and that allows us to sort of go 120 frames ARRI RAW, or if we are in 4x3 aspect ratio, that is 96 frames per second. That holds 50 minutes of ARRI RAW recording, or over 2 hours of ProRes or DNX, so depending on what you choose to sort of shoot your program with. And obviously, you can buy Alexa XT, and there are a lot of rental companies. How many have we delivered in the UK? 40? Yeah, in between 40 and 50. So there are Alexa XTs, but present Alexa plus 4x3s can be upgraded to the same level. Now, Just a few words about the sensors, because this is something that it is at the beginning. You know, in old days, the film camera was the film transport mechanism, and you put the lens and you put the film stock, and the film stock and the lens, combination of these two, were determining the look of the production. Well, these days that is not the case anymore, because you have a sensor, and sensor is only belonging to that camera, on that type of the cameras, that model, and influences really the aesthetics of the picture. So we put an enormous amount of energy, know-how, knowledge, whatever you wish to call it, into designing our sort of purpose-built sensors. And we have a lot of pixels. We believe that what is far more important is the quality of the pixels, not necessarily the number of the pixels. The frame is always the same, 35mm open gate. So if you wish to have more pixels, the pixels need to be smaller. And if they are smaller, they need more light, or they lose sensitivity, or they lose latitude, etc. So we are very, very proud that in the open gate sensor, we managed to cram as many pixels as we possibly could, and they are giving us over 14 stops of latitude, giving us a fantastic color separation. And when we downsample these pixels into the rasters of 2K or HD, we get a really beautifully, naturally sharp image. And because we are working with more pixels than necessary, these images can be upscaled to IMAX without any problem. I've seen Skyfall in IMAX, and it was absolutely stunning. It looked absolutely fantastic, and it looked fantastic for two reasons, because the screen was huge, and the amount of light that IMAX throws on the screen really allows the image to breathe and to sort of show all the tonal range. And this is something that we are calling a high dynamic range. If you come to our stand, you can see Dolby Monitor, and Dolby Monitor is the only monitor currently in the industry, in the marketplace, that can do something like that. And fundamentally has the contrast ratio, which is 6 times higher than the best CRT monitors that you encountered in the places. And IMAX is having a similar principle, throwing a lot of light. So if you have a beautifully exposed material, you really see the whole tonal range. Now, the open gate, the number of pixels that we have in on our sensor is, does this work? Yeah, is 3,434 pixels by 2,202 pixels. And obviously, depending on the aspect ratio of filming, you are using a different scaling factor. At this moment, I'd like to point out that the same sensor and same signal processing is applied in a mirror. So basically, you can put side by side on the same project as a NAB camera to use Alexa or Alexa XT, as a C camera, as a stunt camera, as a sort of grab cam. You can freely use a mirror, and the picture quality will be the same as if you are sort of combining ARRI cam Lite and 235. So that is kind of analogy. Now with the latest version of software, and we upgrade the software about twice a year, the software version 9, we will be allowing people to grab every pixel in ARRI RAW mode. So basically 34 by 2202. So a lot of pixels, and with these pixels you can do wonderful things and make really, really, really stunning images for whatever kind of a screen you are aiming for. I know that there are a lot of talks about ultra high definition and 4K and etc., etc. We firmly believe that picture quality is far more important than number of pixels, which may not necessarily represent the picture quality. It, in the best case, can represent the picture sharpness, but picture sharpness is just only one aspect of the attributes of the image. And we don't sell tellies, we don't sell projectors, we serve the industry, so we are not motivated by any other sort of factors, but just to deliver tools that you can sort of go and do your jobs the best to your ability. Now, this is how it works with anamorphic lenses. Basically, you're shooting squeezed image with a factor 2 to 1. when you unsqueeze that image, you can either squeeze it vertically and you can fit it into 2K raster, or you can sort of unfold it and you basically have a 4K by 1.5K image, depending on what kind of a DCP you wish to create, or is it a commercial, is it a movie. So it gives you a great deal. These are log-C images. This is what majority of the productions are using for sort of getting the maximum latitude of from the sensor. And this is how it looks like when it's grating. It was from a very romantic music video that one of the early adopters of the method sort of used, and it was really a really great production. Now, if we have a camera that has a 4x3 sensor, obviously we need a really state-of-the-art anamorphic lenses. So we embarked on the journey with Zeiss, our a good friend for many, many years. And we have a series of master anamorphic lenses. They are adopting the philosophy of master primes. And actually, they're smaller than master primes. They are small, compact, and they're really, really state-of-the-art glass design. They are not sort of old lenses rehashed with back elements or front elements and this and that. They are designed from the scratch, and they have outstanding. I mean, the people love shooting anamorphic because it squeezes the space in a different way than spherical lenses, and especially elements outside the focus have their own signature. And elongated, this oval bouquet or highlights are something very, very sort of distinctive for anamorphic shooting. And we really paid a lot of attention in the design of these lenses to have a beautiful, and I'll show you some examples. Obviously, our master anamorphics, because everything is going digital these days, are optimized for Alexa cameras. However, they fit beautifully on 35mm cameras. Something that is very common with typical anamorphic lenses is, especially when you are close to the subject, kind of the subject may look as if having a sort of a numps and sort of getting sort of unnecessary kind of, I don't know, fat face, some people call it. So that's not the case with master anamorphics. And image breeding is something that it's not really very good for this kind of work. So we have a 35mm master anamorphic. Come to our booth and you will see this guy doesn't breathe at all. No distortion, because very often with anamorphic, especially wide angle, you start sort of seeing that houses are sort of falling apart or being sort of barreling, etc., etc. Not with master anamorphic. And flaring. Flaring is something that people, it's part of the fashion. One year it's in vogue, next year people don't want it. At this moment everyone wants, and everyone is using old lenses, but we are making lenses for the future, so we have a very, very limited amount of flaring. It's not without flaring at all. A lot of people in post-production much prefer to do flaring in the post. However, all the DOPs that we know and we spoke with, they prefer to do it in camera on the set. And let them fix it in the post the way they want it. However, we have some flaring, not as much as some people wanted, but it's a very, very subtle and very distinctive. And these are some of the examples. This is from Arc de Triomphe. You see no distortions, all lines are straight and sort of not a very beautiful sunny day, I'm afraid, but it shows the geometry. You can see the bouquet, you can see this elongated out of focus. I hate when you start seeing some hexagonals and octagonals in the highlights. It looks very, very nice, very shallow depth of field, and portrays the skin colors beautifully, and sort of that matches the Alexa's capability of really, really picking up the tonal skin range amazingly. You see how shallow it's 1.9, so you can really, really make your focus puller sweat no end, and you need to give him either pay rise or sort of some extra time. Again, this was a 3200 ASA. You can see some grain, but you can see all these beautiful out of focus highlights. And again, illustration of geometry, really straight and sort of no barreling on whatsoever. Now, it's time for us to move to Amira. Anyone, any question about XT, anamorphic, and Alexa? No? Great. When we started our journey towards Alexa, we really privately and secretly and officially and unofficially spoke with so many people. And the proof of the pudding is in the eating, really. And the fact that there are so many productions shot on Alexa prove that we listen and translated into the product what people really wanted us to do in the first place. It's not the first digital camera on the market, as they say, or in the industry. We were actually a very, very late entrant. We had a D20 and D21, and that was a fantastic learning ground for us, what to do and what not to do. And it is the image quality that separates the Alexa from other cameras, but also the robustness, the reliability, ability to upgrade the camera. Because I mean, the cameras with SAP 9 are as the brand new cameras, and these upgrades can be applied even to prototypes. In our office, we have a prototype with the serial number 13, and with the latest software, it is as good as the camera purchased yesterday or last week. So this is something that we intend to do, and with the upgrades, we keep the camera really as fresh as possible. Now, on the back of Alexa, we had a lot of feedback. A lot of people, especially people very close to our heart, because don't forget, once upon a time, all news programs were shot on 16mm cameras. All documentaries were shot on 16mm cameras, and that was our kind of core business for a long time. And we kind of were squeezed out of that, and we are sort of having every intention to sort of go back to our roots and to sort of offer people. Because I mean, as a documentary filmmaker, you are most of the time on your own, and you have to be able to work fast, to react very quickly, to sort of really pick up things. You don't want to sacrifice the picture quality. You don't want to sacrifice anything. You have a small crew. Alexa is typically served by the crew of, I don't know, director of photography, camera operator, first assistant, second assistant, clapper loader, trainee. I know a lot of people doing natural history programs, and they go on their own and spend 6 months or longer, and they have a hard time. They have to sort of take everything with themselves, and they're sort of cooks and line producers and everything. And the last thing that they want is a camera that is not reliable, that is hard to operate, that has a complexity. So a lot of good things that we had in Alexa we put into the Amira, but also a lot of things that we discovered on the journey we sort of put into this beautiful little camera. In a nutshell, we can when people ask us, so what's the Amira all about? Well, it's kind of a baby sister of Alexa. It's a smaller, lighter, cheaper, faster. Everyone latches on this cheaper. It is very, very affordable, but it's not cheap because it's a really solid piece of engineering. You don't find this very often. We don't do plastic, so I'm sorry to say, and that requires really some sort of a proper design and engineering. It is much lighter than Alexa. It is sort of really designed to be operated from the shoulder. I'm not a very strong guy, so but it's still very flexible. And to accommodate for the different lenses, we sort of made the mechanism so that you can pull forwards and backwards so that you can balance. Because what people are asking, a lot of people doing documentaries, they're shooting on the shoulder and they're having a camera on the shoulder for a good part of the day. And sometimes they use prime lenses, sometimes they use zooms. And we know, because we made accessories for a lot of people using different kind of cameras, how frustrated many of them are with lighter, smaller cameras that cannot sort of sit very comfortably on the shoulder. So we really put a great deal of effort in designing this camera in such a way that when it's on the shoulder, it really sits very, very comfortably. And a lot of people sort of who tried it yesterday and this morning were finding it, yes, I'm on a mirror, so they are sort of reminding me, because I can talk for a long time, so apologies. That sort of really does the job comfortably for you. Obviously, all these things can be taken off or rebalanced. Also, we have a great deal of flexibility. Blimey, I press record again. It goes sort of very flexibly, so you can really accommodate it to your liking. We have a brand new electronic viewfinder. It is with OLED technology, and when you come to it, it has a little sensor. The little sensor is here, the little chap here, and that sort of senses when you are close, and then opens the sensor. So when you look from the distance, the picture is non-existent, because some OLEDs are really not very good with long exposure, and sometimes you leave the camera for a long time and there is a piece of light and it can burn your OLED. Now, it is only active when you sort of put your head very, very close to this. Very sharp. A lot of people, especially pulling focus themselves, ask for really, really, really good device so that they can sort of make sure that they are in focus and that can be checked outside. Now, a lot of people really, really like our sort of, we call it single page menu structure on Alexa. It is very intuitive and very simple. You can change all the parameters at the touch of the button, a nice little knob. And everyone said, whatever you do, just don't sort of lose that. So, of course, we tend to listen, and we sort of did it. We have this viewfinder, which has a little LCD on the side, and exactly the same menu structure, and exactly the same arrangement as and you can sort of take it away. You can put a longer cable. You can sort of put it on the back. So as you can see, our sort of designers and engineers spend a fair amount of time really thinking how to make this camera up. I pressed it again. Now, sometimes you are interviewing someone and you want to sort of give him a view. Can you see yourselves? Yeah. So it is a LCD that turns into a menu, but also it sort of gives you the picture. So you can sort of check it if you are sort of shooting from above or from the below. It is very, very accommodating in that respect. So it's a really, really good quality and color matched with your electronic viewfinder. So you really find it trustworthy. It's not a perfect color match, because we are talking different technologies, but it's good enough to sort of have a good assessment of the picture. You have a question? Sorry? Yeah, it's on all the time, because this is not OLED. This is LCD, so it's on all the time. And this is on all the time, but it doesn't show the picture unless you sort of put. So come later and have a look. Now, talking with people. I mean, everything is summarized in this, so you probably read it by now. Talking with people doing natural history programs. For them, ND filters are very, very important. Digital, the motion picture cameras usually go with the matte box out, and people change filters, etc., etc. However, people on their own, sort of in the wilderness, they ask for built-in NDs, and we have 3 NDs, clear, and 3 NDs here. And that allows people to really, if they are in the broad daylight, to sort of minimize the exposure and put it under control. And what we have inside, you probably heard a lot about ND filters. But some of the old ND filters, which were developed for film, were not very infrared tuned. And when put on digital cameras, because film was not infrared sensitive, however, old CMOS sensors are very, very infrared sensitive. So you put some of the old ND filters, and they turn blacks and sort of man-made materials into purpley colors or off black. So one has to be very, very careful. On Alexa, we have infrareds in camera, which are perfect. There are IR NDs, infrared NDs. They are much better in that respect. What we have in Amira is something called full spectrum NDs, FSNDs, and they are really, really absolutely flat throughout all the spectrum and really maintain the neutrality of the image and exposure to in a perfect way. We can change and go up to 200 frames per second, because this is something with the same picture quality as with at 25 frames per second. And that is really something that the people doing wildlife were really, really strongly asking for. People doing dramas don't necessarily need 200 frames per second on a daily basis. However, if they so need it, they can sort of grab this camera and use it as a, instead of 435 as is on all the film days, and sort of get the really stunning action. What people, to get a very, very high frame rate, you have several ways of accomplishing that. You can compromise on the image quality, or you need a very, very, very fast card. So 200 frames per second is about 8 times faster than 25 frames per second. And for that, you really need media that is extremely fast in writing, but also very fast in reading. So we looked around for the fastest possible technology, and the fastest thing that we could find were these SanDisks. This chap is CFast. It's not compact, it's CFast, CFast 2.0. They are brand new technology, just coming onto the market. And this guy is 120 gigabytes. And you can obviously record, we have all 5 flavors of ProRes in this camera. ProRes 444, ProRes HQ 422, and ProRes 422. And these are the duration at 25 frames per second that you can capture. And just for your reference, these are very, very, very mild compression ratios, giving you a perfect image for post-production. With Alexa, we sort of agonize for a long, long time what to do about capturing images. And basically, there are 2 types of codexes. There are codexes optimized for distribution, and a lot of camera manufacturers take them and sort of repackage them for acquisition. But when you come to post, whatever you acquired with has to be converted either to DNX or ProRes for editing, because you can't do native editing with most of the, well, almost with none of the acquisition codexes. We decided to take the post-production codexes and bring them to the front and acquire images. So basically, with this material, you go straight into the post. You don't need to cross-convert. You don't need to render. You don't need to do muck around. You're really, really, really fast. Now, with SBS cards, I had PCI Express slot on the side, and I was able to slot it in. However, this is not the case with this guy as yet. So you can have this USB 3 based, but it works on this. And this is sort of card reader. It costs something like a 30 quid, 40 pounds. So it's not our arm and the leg, really. So, and this is my drive. And this is my folder. And sorry, and I'll find something interesting. I hope I will not embarrass anyone. So, and this is 200 frames per second, without any rendering, without any kind of mucking around. I'm not a cinematographer. I'm not director of photography. But this is just a flavor and a feel what you can get 200 frames per second. I'm actually not even good at pulling focus, so apologies. So obviously it's very slow because it's 8 times slower than a real time. This is just a little illustration how quickly this can be moved from the media on your desktop, or making clones or copies, etc., and sort of empty the cards and sort of get on and sort of start shooting. So we are not going to put it on the web, I promise, so without your permission. Okay. Is there anything? Right. Blimey. Sorry, apologies. It's very unprofessional. This is basically a point where I would like to show you a couple of videos, but any question before I do that? Yes, please. Yes. The same as film camera. We have the shutter angles from almost to 360 degree, 350 something from, yeah, very narrow, 11 point something. So it really accommodates any kind of, we are film people, know what film people like, so we kind of, easiest thing for us is to do the same. While we are on this subject, can I ask you something? A lot of people coming from the video world who are not familiar with shutter angles are asking us to put the exposure times. Is this a good idea or not? It's good, okay, thank you. Right. Oh yes, we have 4 audio channels, and we can sort of record that. But before we go to any further, I'd like to sort of show right, this one. And I'd like to show you one more clip showing a mirror in action. and then we can do some questions and talk about lenses and other stuff. Okay, obviously you can put a range of lenses because this camera is with PL mount, and this is one of the very new ENG type lenses. It's slightly on the heavier side if you are used to this kind of lenses for B4 mount cameras, but it is really, really fantastic glass. Because of the size of the imager, the range of these lenses is not really tremendously long, as it is the case with the B4 mount glass. There are 18 times and 22 times and 80 times zooms for B4 image size. However, the typical zoom range for Super 35 sensors is about 3 to 4 times. This is slightly more than that, 4.5 times. Probably the longest one is Canon's 30 to 300, 10 times. And when you come to that range, you're talking really about serious glass. So this is one of the lenses that it comes very neatly on the front and sort of really gives you a very nice and shallow depth of field, but equally gives you the flexibility and maneuverability. There are other lenses, lightweight zooms, etc., etc. And we are also working on a wireless lens control. The wireless lens control that we have on XT is 3-axis. This is a single-axis device, so you can put a motor, and if the camera is on the jib or something, you can either designate this to control your focus or iris or zoom, whatever. It's a single-channel control, and very affordable, I was led to believe. So something that can be combined and it would work very nicely. You can sort of have all sorts of grip coming with a mirror lighter or heavier, depending of kind of a style that you wish to do. A lot of people, especially from natural history world, ask us to accommodate different lens mounts. So we have every intention to sort of, you see these 4 screws here. The idea is basically to replace the front end, something that you should be able to do in the field. And sort of if you have a shoot with P4 mount lens, you take this one. You shouldn't be doing that in the middle of the desert when it's a sandstorm, but in a hotel room it will be perfectly okay. And you replace with a different lens mount. So, how many of you think that having a B4 mount is a good idea? No one? Oh, blimey. Only 1 guy, 2 guys, 3 guys, 4 guys. Okay. How many of you think that the EF mount would be a good idea? Few guys. Okay. Thank you very much. It will come definitely with PL mount, but we have every intention to sort of accommodate as many mounts as it is practically feasible and possible. I forgot to mention we will have this Wi-Fi and Blu-ray, not Blu-ray, Bluetooth connectivity, so that you can sort of send the signal to the base station, iPads and alike, or to control the image. I'm running out of time, so there is so much more to sort of cover. Do you have any questions? Yes, please. Thank you.
The footage we have seen, the graded, the color correction, is that on camera or on post-production? On that?
Well, you know, everything goes through color grading these days. I mean, as simple as that.
So because we do color correction in this as well. Because
well, the camera has the really amazing capability of doing 3D LUT color grading in camera. So if you so wish, you can sort of set up your look, and you can import it on the camera or create it in the camera and shoot that way. And in that case, you would only need to balance if you are shooting half of the scene in overcast and bright sunshine. So you need to balance that. So we have all these options available, or we will have in a mirror. So you can shoot log C, you can shoot Rec 709, what is industry standard. You can make your own look and sort of burn it in, or you can use it as a preview and shoot whatever you want and sort of apply it in the post. So all options are going to be available.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Anyone else? Any question? Can you pass the...
What do you need for rastering the RAW?
Sorry?
For dealing with the RAW, what do we need? Do you provide anything?
This camera is not for RAW, really, because people doing documentaries
Alexa
don't necessarily wish to shoot RAW. They tell us that they shoot fast and run. If you wish to shoot RAW, Alexa XT is your perfect choice.
What software do we need to deal with that rastering?
With?
To debayer the footage?
ProRes. You get ProRes. You don't need to do any
you can't deal with the RAW.
Well, which cameras do you usually use? Red. Well, you have their tools and you sort of deal with them. We do everything in camera for you so that you don't need to sort of spend hours and hours converting your files. The rest speaks for itself, really. Any other question? Well, thank you very much. Please come to our stand, and it was a pleasure to see you all. Thank you.